And it's basically, let me tell you, they're brilliant. The writers, meaning being they, are brilliant because they put forth, I've never once contacted them and say, he wouldn't do this. Never once. And when they put the stuff forward and they take, I know what they do in their meetings. They must have just a hell, we'll have him do this. Oh, can you imagine what he's going to do with this? Can you imagine what he's going to do with this? It's the way that they talk. Because basically, the directors come in and they really try to keep us somewhat in the story, to tell the story. And there's a lot of them that come in and they really have great understanding, but most of them come in and they get behind the monitor and they go, okay, action. And they're watching the show. Do it again. It's great, you know. Once in a while you get somebody that really knows the show. And they come in and then they go, well, I said, yeah, I understand it perfectly. Watch. And then you do what you need to do. But most of the time people have been very, very understanding of the real human drama that is going on. So they add to that. They don't try to develop character. They try to make sure that the truth is being hit. And that's all we can ask of anybody. Just make sure that my realities are strong, that you believe them. If you find something that is fluctuating, tell me about it, let me know, and I'll try it again, and that's the best you can do. And so basically, that's what we've been able to understand.
I think the only time that you ever got shut down is that scene where you were supposed to take a phone call in your quarters and you wanted to take it on the John. All right beside the toilet whenever you
Right there. Hogan, I'm going to come out of the bathroom when the scene starts and just really nonchalantly close the door. Come out, just like as a moment of reality that nobody plays. Smell. Sweet success. It's not a ship and you can't get away from it. Smell him down to the hangar next day. Goddamn noodles. All the way in the back of the phone. Go ahead.
During your legendary career, what would you like to accomplish between now and
your funeral? Now and the next time I see you.
Gosh, and you know, the only thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be the longest living Olmos in captivity. What I'm trying to do is live a life that will kind of like, I'm 61 years old. I know I look good. Okay. I'm in midlife. Okay. So I'm trying to get to 120. And to get there, you have to really plan to get there. You have to prepare for that. So you have to really think about it. You can't just say, well, whatever destiny has in store for me, it doesn't work for me. So basically, I am trying to make it to 120. That's my goal. And my partner, Robert Young, who has been directing us, he's 83. And he's a classic documentarist. And he's the one that gave us a lot of our aesthetic that we use on the show. And Bob did the boxing episode. And it was so complex. And if you see the DVD, the DVD sale, the one you have in your packets, DVDs, that's a different version than the one that we showed on the air. And that one's much stronger, much better. Matter of fact, they're going to start doing that, I'm sure, and start putting the longer versions, because like this last show, I had to take out 27 minutes of the assemblage, and it was a brilliant story, and it really worked well. And to take out 27 minutes of it, I had to cut it down to 43 minutes. That's how much time we have to show on the air. So hopefully they'll put, I think they called me yesterday and they want to put it all back for the Yes, sir, go.
Battlestar's the best show on television bar none, and it's growing in popularity as evidenced by the crowd here. Why did sci-fi feel so hesitant to renew it for more than 4 seasons?
I wish Amber was here. He always answers that well.
No, basically,
Bloody retarded, that's
my real understanding of this is that Ron wanted out. Ron wanted to finish the program. He didn't want to go into 2 or 3 more, seasons and kind of waffling as to, because he was, the story's got to end someday. So why not end it really with the energy level of a real story being told and not being fabricated and, let's see where we're going to take them now. That he didn't want. So he had this charted out. Believe me, when you see the final episode, you're going to realize this kid really knew what he was doing. He wrote the last 4 hours that have been cut down to 3. And I'd say the same thing. Every ounce of footage they've ever gotten on this thing should be placed somewhere, and people should be able to see it, because everything had something to say. The writers were fantastic. I agree with you, and I agree with many people, that this is the finest dramatic show in television history so far. And I take that not because West Wing isn't great, The Sopranos aren't great, and all of these
Deadwood.
Deadwood is good. There's many lost, all of these.
Oh, come on!
One of his favorites. All these shows don't really have an understanding of themselves, especially things like West Wing that were so poignant. But this genre allows you to take into understanding things that you can't touch in those kind of shows. And therefore, it got to a level that was much more intense and much higher. Rod Serling understood it. And that's why I think that he really took it. Twilight went to a whoof. Used to send people spinning, in the 50s. It was fantastic. So this show, per se, has elevated, for me, dramatic structure as well as the science fiction genre to the highest level. And you all deserve it, because you guys have all been part of this for your entire lives, and you love this genre, and you deserve to know that dramatically you have pushed it to another level. And the next people that come across, whether it be in the police station or in a courtroom or in a hospital or, in the White House, are going to have to deal with what the caliber of what we did humanistically that rang around the world. I'm not kidding you. You think it's hot right now, like Blade Runner. 25 years from today, the show will be better understood than it is today and what it meant. And that's just what Blade Runner did. Blade Runner is like, you see it today and you go, wow, people who had never seen that program see it right now, they thought it was made last week. They think they're watching it, wow, this really happened. It's like great literature. When you see great literature, it could be written back in the 17th century, you're saying, wow, you really wrote this back then? Unbelievable. Don Quixote, whoa, big time. The original, right? Yes, right here.